So this is what the digital communications lab in our semester, and of course these are the course outcomes for a particular lab. So this course will provide some practical exposure on different aspects of digital communications, and also demonstrate the importance of different modulation techniques in digital communication system. The modulation techniques in the sense, those may be pulse code modulation, delta modulation, or in digital modulation techniques like ASK, FSK, PSK, etc. All those modulation techniques were given in this particular course of lab. And also it gives the knowledge about the different encoding and decoding techniques used in the digital communication system. So if you observe our list of experiments in our lab syllabus, we have the experiments related to encoding and decoding techniques also. So coming to the course outcomes, so these are the course outcomes for our digital communications lab. That means after the end of the course, so you are able to demonstrate what is the time division multiplexing and demultiplexing process using PAM signals, and analyze different pulse code, pulse digital modulation techniques. Design, you are able to design and implement different modulation techniques and interpret the modulated and demodulated waveforms. Similarly, at the end of the course, you also should identify and describe various encoding and decoding techniques. Coming to the list of experiments, so this is already we know. So we have totally 15 experiments are there. Out of these 15, minimum 12 experiments must be conducted during the lab course. So we will selectively conduct minimum 12 experiments from these 15 experiments list. Of course, if we have a time at the end of the lab course, we also do the remaining experiments also. But as of now, we'll start with the time digital multiplexing and then pulse code modulation. The third experiment will start with delta modulation and then after and so on. So coming to the first experiment, so that is a time division multiplexing. So what is the time division multiplexing, and what is the use of time division multiplexing, and how this multiplexing technique is used in real-time communication systems? So we'll see. This is the general block diagram of a communication time division multiplexing in any communication system. So this is the broad multiplexing process. Whenever there are number of data sources are there, so these data sources are going to be transmitted in a single communication line by using multiplexing technique. So since it is a time division multiplexing, that means on the basis of time, these number of data signals are going to be transmitted in this single communication channel. That means during one time instant, the first signal is going to be transmitted. During the second time instant, maybe the second value of the data source will be transmitted. This is the general way of treating time division multiplexing. But if you observe in detail, so all these analog message signals first are going to pass through the low pass filter. So since low pass filter is also called anti-aliasing filter, so this low pass filter will limit the input signal frequency to some cutoff frequency, so that all these signals are going to be band limited signals. So here all these number of input signals are passed through a commutator. The commutator purpose is to sample these signals on the basis of time. On the basis of time, all these signals are passed through this communication line. For example, if we consider the commutator as a switch, if the switch position is changed from one time to another time, let us assume that these dotted lines in the circle represents different time instants. For example, if this arrow is at this position, then one of the sample value of the first signal will be transmitted. If this arrow is pointed to some other instant, then at this particular time instant, maybe the second sample of the second signal or a third signal will be transmitted in the single communication channel. So after the sampling process, the sampled signal can be transmitted as a PAM signal, or in place of this pulse modulator, we can use a pulse code modulation also. That means in order to transmit these multiplexer data in a communication channel, we can use different modulation techniques. Okay, here already multiplexing data is coming after the commutator, but to transmit in the channel, we must be able to make that signal suitable for the channel by using pulse amplitude modulation or by using pulse code modulation. We should make that signal suitable for transmission over the communication channel. Similarly, in the receiver side, we have a decommutator. So again, there is a switch. So both commutator and decommutator are operating based on a single synchronized clock pulse. Here, both are operating based on the same clock pulse. That means at what instant the input signal is sampled, at the same instant of time, that is reconstructed at the demultiplexing process. For that purpose, we need a synchronization mechanism in time division multiplexing. That is the must and should requirement for any time division multiplexing process. So this is the general block diagram generally we observe while understanding the time division multiplexing process. Now we are going to see what is our hardware kit. What is the hardware kit for time division multiplexing which is provided in our laboratory, and how to analyze this time division multiplexing by observing that kit, and how to give the inputs and how to observe the multiplexing signal. Now let us see. All of you carefully observe this hardware kit diagram. So this is the diagram which indicates the time division multiplexing. In that, pulse amplitude modulation is also given. That means in place of this pulse modulation, we are using pulse amplitude modulation. That means generally, if you observe that what is the sampled signal, the sampling process can be three types: ideal sampling, natural sampling, flat top sampling. Generally, if you observe what is the flat top sample output, that output is same as the pulse amplitude modulation. Both are same. So the general time division multiplexing is applied based on PAM modulation and demodulation. Okay. Now, how to multiplex number of signals by using this hardware kit, and how to observe the multiplexer waveform, and then how to demultiplex. So, if you all of you observe carefully about this particular kit diagram, so in this there are some different input knobs are given, like 5 input knobs are given. Out of this, these are the 4 input signals which we are going to take for this particular experiment. Okay. Here, actually there is an experimental procedure, but here I am not going to each and every point in this experimental procedure. I am directly going through this hardware kit, and now by looking at the kit itself, I am going to explain the procedure of doing this experiment. Okay. Here the first step is observe the number of input signal given in this particular kit. Why we are observing means, in order to multiplex different signals, first of all we need to select some number of signals. Here how many signals we are going to select for multiplexing process means, we are going to select 4 different signals, and all the 4 signals are sinusoidal signals. We observe this frequency value, each and every input knob is mentioned with some amount of frequency. For example, from this knob there is a sinusoidal signal having frequency of 50 Hz. From this 500 Hz, from this 1 kHz and 2 kHz. That means if you observe what is the waveform coming from this point, when you observe the CRO, that is a sine wave of frequency 250 Hz. Similarly, what is this knob? This knob indicates the amplitude variation of that particular signal. If you want to change the amplitude, you can change this knob and observe the variation in the amplitude, but the frequency is fixed. Like that, we can able to select 4 different input signals having different frequencies and different amplitudes also. By changing these knobs, we can have different amplitudes for different signals. So like that, we can select 4 signals as an input for the multiplexing having different frequencies and different amplitudes. Now, here all these 4 signals must be connected to the multiplexing process. All of you carefully observe, there is a block here which is called as a transmitter, and here there is another block which is represented as a receiver. That means in this particular block multiplexing is done, and in this particular block demultiplexing is done. So first we'll observe what is how multiplexing is done. So in order to perform multiplexing, first of all there are 4 channels are there, that means 4 input signals. All these 4 input signals we must connect at these points like this. So by using some patch cards, we can directly connect this first signal, second signal, and third signal, and fourth signal at these points. Okay. So of course this is the ground signal. So by default it is already connected. So by connecting these four sinusoidal signals having different frequency and different time, different amplitude, then these four signals, if you observe each and every signal path, so this first signal is passing through some block. So this block is called as a sampling block. After this sampling, here each signal is going to be sampled by one clock pulse. If you observe this particular block, from this block, sampling clock or clock pulses are coming to each and every signal. And also if you observe this symbol indicates a switch, okay, or a commutator. You can say that this is a commutator. So whenever the switch is open, then there is no sample is coming. Whenever the switch is closed, only at this particular time instant, one sample of the input is coming. Similarly, for the second signal also there is one switch, that is the sampling switch. From this switch, we can observe number of samples of the second signal. Like that, the sampled signal of every input signal is coming at this particular location. Okay. If you observe the point in the CRO, then you can clearly observe what is the sampled output of each and every signal. Now, after passing this signal to this particular block, in this block actually the time division multiplexing is done. Then if you observe the final output in the CRO, there you can observe the mixing of these four signals after sampling process. Then the total time division multiplexing output is obtained at this particular point. We will see what will be the output later. Now, next one is receiver. This is nothing but time division demultiplexing. Okay. In the demultiplexing process, again we need to give the time division multiplexer output here to the input of the receiver, and then finally entire reverse process is applied here. Okay. Again there is a timing clock. Same clock must be used here. The same clock must be used here, both in multiplexing and demultiplexing, because both multiplexing and demultiplexing operation must be synchronized. Then only we must reconstruct we are able to reconstruct the original signal perfectly. So for that synchronization process, we must need the same type of clock signals, both transmitter and receiver side. That's why here this is the transmitter timing logic and this is the receiver timing logic. So these two blocks will provide the clock signals. Since we must have both transmitter and receiver having the same clock, synchronized clock, so that's why this clock is connected to this point and this clock is also connected to this point. That means both transmitter and receiver sections are operated by using the same synchronized clock. So then only the receiver will operate perfectly. So after connecting the TDM output to this point, then if you observe different demultiplexer output to the CRO individually, then at these particular points you can clearly observe the demultiplexer signals as a original sine waves what we are giving as the inputs. Is it clear? So this is very simple process. Now we'll see what are the different connections as I explained now, and what will be the output waveforms, and then what are the observations we need to make. Now observe. This is what I have explained. So first of all, you all should consider 4 input signals and select a random amplitudes, one having a high amplitude, other one having a low amplitude, and then so you can take these amplitudes in a decreasing order or increasing order, whatever it is. But all the amplitudes must be in a different way, and also all the frequencies must be different. Already it is given. So connect all these inputs to these points. Then if you observe any one of the input to the CRO, so that will be a sine wave, because we are taking a different sine waves having different amplitudes and different frequencies. So for example, signal for one input signal, if you observe it in CRO, that is the wave. Okay. Now, where the clock pulse is there, I already explained. At these particular points, a clock signal is generated. So that when the CRO pin is connected, or the CRO probe is connected to this pin, you will observe the clock signal in the CRO. Similarly, there is a selector, duty cycle selector is there here. If you change this knob, if you change this pin, the duty cycle of the clock pulse is also can be changed. That means on time period, off time period can also be adjusted. So this clock signal is called as a general clock signal or a sample clock. For example, if you want to calculate what is the sampling time period, that is TS, that must be calculated based on this sampling clock only. For example, if you observe the time period of this waveform, this time period is nothing but the sampling time, that is TS. Okay. Now, after connecting all these four input signals, for example, after connecting all these four input signals, if you directly observe the multiplexed output here, that multiplexed output will be obtained like this. So all of you carefully observe this. The waveform contains the dotted lines. So the dotted line indicates that all the waveforms are sampled. Only after sampling only, all the four signals are mixed and multiplexed as like this. So one is having a large amplitude, second signal is having somewhat less amplitude, and third signal is having some less amplitude, and then the fourth signal. Each signal having different amplitudes, and also each signal is having different frequency also, so that every signal having different time periods. Now, if it is asked to find the time interval between two successive samples in the TDM output. Anybody asked what is the time interval between the successive samples in the TDM output means, if you carefully observe this waveform, at each and every time instance, any one of the sample from the four input signal is coming. After that sample, maybe another sample of the another signal will be coming. That means at every instance of time, different samples of different signals is transmitted as a multiplexed signal. For example, at a time instant t1, for example, let us say any time instant during this time axis, at time instant t1, the first sample of first signal may be obtained. First sample of first signal may be obtained. Next, at time instant t2, the first sample of second signal may be obtained. First sample of second signal may be obtained. Similarly, at time instant t3, that is the next time instant, first sample of third signal will be obtained. Again at time instant t4, first sample of fourth signal will be obtained. Then after this four time instance, again the process will be repeated. That means again after the next time instant, that is t5, second sample of first signal will be transmitted. Again after time instant t6, second sample of second signal will be transmitted. That means during these first four time instants, all the first samples are transmitted. During the next four time instants, second samples of the all four signals are transmitted, like that. So this particular time duration is generally called as a frame. During one frame, all the first samples are transmitted. During the next frame, all the second samples of the signals are transmitted, and so on like this. So like this, if you observe this signal contains as a single waveform having some time instant as a time axis and having some amplitude. So if you observe in the amplitude axis, we can easily observe there are number of samples which are mixed together, so that it will be treated as a single signal, and this single multiplexer signal is going to be transmitted in a channel. So that's how number of signals can be multiplexed based on this time shared basis. For example, here we are taking only 4 signals. Like that, we can take 100 signals. So all those 100 signals are multiplexed based on this time shared basis, as I explained here. Okay. Of course, from this experiment only we can take 3 signals or 2 signals. Only based on 2 signals also you can multiplex. Then you can clearly observe how the 2 signals are multiplexed in a very easy way. So this is what the multiplexed output. And after, you can look at this diagram. After you connect this multiplexed output to the demultiplexer, and also if you connect this clocks to transmitter and receiver section in order to synchronize. Then if you observe the demultiplexer output at one particular channel in the demultiplexing block, then this is what the signal. So actually this is the original signal what I have observed earlier, and for this particular original signal, this is what the demultiplexer waveform. So if you observe these two images, somehow we can observe that there is a reduction in the amplitude, but there is no change in the frequency. Whenever there is a demodulation or demultiplexing process, the frequency of the signal must not be changed. Of course, the amplitude may be changed due to the channel characteristics. Okay, so this is what the time division multiplexing technique. So what I have explained till now, you can see the real-time video of the experiment from this video. I'll have to see this carefully. This is what the experimental kit, and we have taken the signals like this. Here, all of you observe, these are the 4 signals already connected to the inputs, and here this is the output pin. The output pin is already connected to the CRO probe. Here, what we are doing is, first of all the input signals are initially set to 0. That is, no input is given. All 0 signals are given. Slowly, I am increasing the amplitude of one signal after the other signal. For example, one signal is given first, having some amplitude like this. Next, second signal amplitude slowly I am increasing like this. Then, if you observe exactly at this point, I have given only 2 signals having different amplitude and different frequency. Then, if you observe the output in this CRO screen, you can clearly observe how the 2 signals are multiplexed. This is the 2 time division multiplexing of 2 signals only. Then I am going to increase the amplitude of the third signal so that 3 signals are multiplexed at this point. Let us see. I am increasing the third one. I am increasing the third one amplitude. So now you can see the third signal is going to be multiplexed. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Now, if I increase the fourth one signal, and if you change the fourth signal amplitude, then you can clearly observe how all the 4 signals are multiplexed. Okay, so all the 4 signals are multiplexed. Okay, so if you carefully zoom this CRO screen and try to adjust the time scale, then you can easily observe how the samples are separated and what is the time gap between 2 successive samples. Also, we can calculate while doing the experiment. Okay. So this is what the experiment. So whenever if you want to observe the demultiplexing process, what is the first requirement? You must have same clock for both transmitter and receiver. That's why these 2 connections are these 2 pins are connected to same wires. So look at this. Both these clocks are connected from transmitter to receiver because we need same clock for both transmitter and receiver. Then only it will work. Now the output TDM is connected to the demultiplexer. Now we are observing the demultiplexer waveform here. That will be a sine wave. So similarly, if you observe the demultiplexer waveform at corresponding 3 other pins, you can easily observe what are the demultiplexer waveforms for other signals also. For example, if I change this pin to another position, this is the demultiplexer waveform of second signal. Similarly, this is the demultiplexer waveform for third signal. And similarly, this is the demultiplexer waveform for fourth signal. Whatever you are given as the input, that is obtained as this demultiplexer waveform. Of course, there may be some changes in the amplitude, but the frequency must be same. Okay. So this is the complete experiment for division multiplexing process. Okay. We have done both time division multiplexing as well as demultiplexing. Okay. So this is what the connections, how they are connected, and how you observe the output. Okay, and how you observe the demultiplexer output. Okay. Now, if you observe this, this is the I already explained. This is the duty cycle selector. If you change this knob, you can change the duty cycle of the clock signal. You can change the duty cycle of the clock signal. You can clearly observe there is a change in the on time period and off time period. So as required, you can change that also. And finally, what are the observations or calculations you must do for this particular experiment? The first thing is we need to observe all the 4 different sinusoidal input signals, and you need to calculate what is the amplitude and frequencies of those, and calculate the sampling clock time period, which is nothing but the sampling period, that is TS, and then FS. So after calculating TS and FS, you must calculate whether the sampling condition is satisfied or not. That means whether FS is greater than 2 FM. If you should take any of the frequency of the input signal, for all the frequencies, you must verify whether the sampling condition is satisfied. That is, FS is greater than 2 FM or not. After verification only, you must do other calculations. Next, observe the TDM output waveform and then calculate the pulse width of TDM output. Calculate the pulse width of TDM. Pulse width means the time interval between any 2 successive samples. So you can calculate by looking at the CRO screen. By looking at the CRO screen, you can calculate the time gap between any 2 successive samples. And theoretically, if you compare, that value is nearly equal to TS by 4, since we have 4 signals. So within the time duration of TS, all the 4 signals must be transmitted. That's why TS by 4 is the pulse width of TDM output, or a time interval between 2 successive samples in the TDM output. Okay, and similarly observe all the 4 demultiplexing waveforms and calculate the amplitude and frequencies of the demultiplexer waveforms also. Okay, so this is what the experiment of time division, multiplexing and demultiplexing. Okay, so if you have any doubts in this particular experiment,